What's going on, YouTube?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Father-Son Fantasy Football Podcast.
Yeah, we just got done recording a great bust episode with one of the hosts from the Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. Nick, what's up, Nick?
What's up, Nick?
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, so
It's going good.
guys who are only on YouTube, viewing us on YouTube, we are a podcast first, so check the description below. Find the podcast for whatever device you have, subscribe and download it, rate it 5 stars. You write a 5-star review, we'll shout you out at the beginning of the next episode, and also gives you 5 entry points to our subscriber league, which we're also running. So keep those comments coming and keep the tweets coming. And today, for your bonus YouTube episode, we're going to have Nick give us a guy he's targeting in some rounds, the guys he doesn't want to leave the draft without, and also a draft day tip to help all you drafters out there, old, new, experienced, whatever you are. So, Nick, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Take it away.
All right, so I think I misunderstood what the original goal was and over-prepared, but I'm just going to go through. I went rounds 2 through 9, some guys I'm targeting in each round. Round 2, especially if I'm drafting later in the second round, I'm looking at Joe Mixon and Jordan Howard in a lot of my leagues. It's kind of the last couple running backs I desperately want on my team. So if I went wide receiver early or if I'm trying to double up on running back, those are two guys I'm looking at very, very much. I'm also projecting a major breakout year for Joe Mixon this year. Round 3, I'm definitely trying to leave that round with T.Y. Hilton. He's my favorite wide receiver that's fallen into the third round, and my favorite wide receiver that I don't consider one of the top kind of 9 or 10 guys. Going into round 4, I'm a really big fan of Amari Cooper and Golden Tate this year, just because I think the volume and the PPR efficiency is going to be there for both of them. So if I'm looking for a wide receiver 2, or if I went running back heavy and I need a guy who might be able to be a wide receiver 1 for me, I like both those guys there. Round 5, I start looking for some value guys who I know are going to be safe. Lamar Miller, Jarvis Landry kind of light it up in this round. Round 6, I'm a big fan of Sammy Watkins and Michael Crabtree as guys who I think can get 100-plus targets this year and should be able to produce. Round 7 is when I start looking tight end or quarterback usually, and some names I like here are Delaney Walker, Cam Newton, or Drew Brees all going in this round. Cam Newton is especially going way too low. He's my quarterback 4, and he's coming off the board in the 7th round.
Right there, boom.
Round 8, I'm a big fan of some more value plays. Randall Cobb, who I think could also see 100 targets, is going this late, which I think is a little crazy, especially in that Green Bay offense, as much as I hate to say it. C.J. Anderson, I think, is a great running back value here if you're looking for a guy who might have some more upside, especially as the goal line back there in Carolina.
Love him there.
And then Duke Johnson, I think, is a real safe play here if you're coming down to round 8, if you just want a guy with some good PPR floor. Chris Thompson's going in a similar range if you want a little bit of a different flavor with the same type of back. And then lastly, round 9, Jamal Williams, who I love now with the 2-game suspension to Aaron Jones. And he might have a chance to grab that job. It's kind of a dart throw type running back situation anyway when you're grabbing him this late. And Robbie Anderson, who could be the wide receiver 1 there in New York. It's not a super high upside position. I think the best you could do is wide receiver 2, but it's the 9th round. If you can get a wide receiver 1 on a team, you're definitely taking that this late in the draft.
Wow, right there. I
Awesome.
didn't disagree with one of those guys right there. So I like how that similar mind thing. Dad, you may disagree, but hey.
I love the 6th round, which was Crabtree and Watkins. I love that right there in the 6th round.
Yeah, so I just ran through FF Calc real fast and was like, who do I like?
Hey, if you get any of those guys, that sounds like a pretty solid team right then and there. I'm not going to lie, but that's all on paper. But hey, I like it.
And it'll all change by draft time, but for the snapshot now, that's some guys I like.
Yeah, it's only July, so give it a month or so. A lot of those ADPs are probably going to change.
Yep.
And what's one draft day tip that you can give our listeners and viewers?
If you got the time, sit down and get some tiers out for yourself, even if it's just taking some other people's rankings. Just start putting lines under where you think there's a big drop off under some guys and where you want to try to catch value at that spot. A real obvious place to highlight it in this year's draft is going to be in the wide receivers, because there's about 9 or 10 guys. Usually Mike Evans, Doug Baldwin's kind of the last 2 in that list, and you got Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, Brown, Hopkins, all the guys ahead of him. But there's usually 9 and 10 is Evans and Baldwin. And I think there's a pretty big drop off where you start getting a lot more question marks after those 9 or 10 guys. So I'm really trying hard in my drafts in the second round or early third to be grabbing one of those guys as my last guy before I kind of drop down to the next tier wide receivers. If you do that in your drafts, you can generally try to make sure you're not missing out on a position or a tier of guys where you feel like you're going to be chasing value later.
Wow, right there. Well
That's
said.
an
That's
awesome
another
tip.
great tip. Lots of great tips. I'm even learning some right there. I had never done that before, but I'm definitely going to be trying that out now. It sounds like a great way to not get lost up in the draft. You look at your sheet right there, and you see where value looks off.
Yep, that's a great tip.
Sounds a great tip.
Yep, and there's resources online where you'll find guys who will do tiers for you. I generally try to at least slightly change them to fit my own thoughts or rankings. But you can find resources out there if you're not comfortable doing it yourself where they can at least build some decent tiers for you as well.
Yeah, boom. All right, and then where can people find you at, and what else are you doing now in the fantasy world, Nick?
I primarily just run the podcast. It's Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. Find us on all major platforms and also here on YouTube. Individually, I'm at Nick Spartz on Twitter if you want to DM me specifically. Otherwise, the show is at Beer Fueled FF. You'll find us doing everything from can art, beer reviews, fantasy information. We work with a lot of other guys in the industry to try to jump on other shows. And you can find us at the National Fantasy Football Convention as well. If you're also going to be there, DM us on Twitter. Let us know, and we'll try to meet up with you. Glad hand a little bit. Just talk some fantasy and enjoy the weekend.
I like the beer reviews.
We have a lot of fun with them.
Awesome.